I laugh every day when my attorney would say, you breeze through Fox News. And I said, because I was talking about pro-life. We forget cannabis is pro-life. And when you change that story, you change that narrative, you have everyone, their eyes and ears open.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Lasagna Ganja Podcast. I am Mr. X to the Z Xzibit.
And I'm Tammy, aka the Cannabis Cutie.
And we are here today with we always have wonderful episodes, but I'm excited about this. We have a guest. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't, but conversation is always stimulating. We go through the layers of cannabis culture. It is that show.
Yes.
I'm very glad to be here today because who do we have with us?
We have Mieko Perez. She is an advocate in the cannabis space, specifically for children with autism and their families. She works with medical professionals in the cannabis space, and she is notoriously known for being one of the first mothers to come out and say, I give my kid weed.
Wow, that is dope. Amazing. We get that perspective. We're going to be able to speak with her. She has some exciting stuff coming out in the market. On top of that, it's just wild stuff going on in cannabis. We hear about it, we see about it on social media, we hear about what's going on, flickers of it, whether it's going to be legalized or not, from CNN and Fox and all these other sources. So we focused on some of the headlines that are happening right now. I'm just going to talk about that before we bring on our guests, because I think it's very interesting what's happening. It's happening all across the nation. There's cannabis multi-state operators, and then there's guys, like us that operate on a state level and have brands, right? What are some of the headlines that are the topics that you think stand out the most for you?
With MSOs or just in the cannabis?
No, just in cannabis, period. We're going to dedicate a whole show to MSOs because
let's do it.
Yeah, there's certain lingo that needs to, be explained to our audience. We don't know if they're novice users, people who never smoke cannabis, all the way up to people who smoke every day and know, they're weed snobs.
Yes, it's for the canna curious and for the connoisseurs.
Yes. Talk about the difference between resin, rosin, we're going to talk about all that, but that's got to be compacted into like a glossary show.
Yeah, we'll do a FAQ show, but a headline that has been really big for 2023, pretty recent, was that it is being recommended that cannabis goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, and drug scheduling, anything on Schedule 1, it means it has no accepted medical use and high potential for abuse. And there's like no medicinal value, even though the cannabis plant, there's so many different states that have some type of legislation for this as medicine. It's on Schedule 1 where it says there is no medical use. So the recommendation is that we move it to Schedule 3. And that was announced, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, this is great news, like progress, right? But it's not progress. In fact, it's actually something we don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Okay, so for our listeners, what is the difference when it goes to Schedule 3? Then it's classified as... So at Schedule 1, because it's federally illegal, what the states do is the state's business. Right. If this moves to Schedule 3, what happens is now it's the FDA's business. Oh, fuck. Yeah. So everything would have to go through the FDA to get approved. And then once it's approved, you have to get a prescription from a doctor for it. So then it changes the entire industry. And let's say the FDA drags their feet and does nothing. Or gives the contracts to their homeboys. Correct. Yeah. Now the industry is completely away from the people who saved it, kept it alive, who are trying to survive now in the legal market. And then it goes to big business. Or the FDA does what they did in the past with the marijuana tax stamp, and that's nothing. They do absolutely nothing. So it's like, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it, and now weed is gone.
Right.
So there's so many really bad outcomes. There could be positive, but my thing is,
what are some of the positives?
I don't even know. The government and cannabis, like, there is no positives. Like, cannabis, I mean, what positives can we say from the government when it comes to weed? There's not that many. I mean, Joe Biden, just last year, there was the announcement where he pardoned federal cannabis offenses, but that was for simple possession, and nobody was in jail for that. So,
well, they can do distribution. They got them COVID shots out there like a motherfucker. Quick.
I mean, right. So, okay. Speaking of distribution, if we want to do anything as far as changing anything, first of all, let's not reschedule. Let's deschedule fully. Deschedule.
And what's the difference for our listeners? What's the difference with that?
Descheduling is just taking it off this list to begin with. Listen, cannabis is only on Schedule 1 because it was supposed to be temporarily placed there. And then Nixon, they commissioned the Schaefer report, which said, hey, actually, this is kind of benign. It's really positive. We need to reschedule it or just deschedule it altogether. Actually, deschedule it. And they basically threw that report away and kept it on Schedule 1 because what pharmaceutical companies were like, okay, well, if we have our drugs next to cannabis and other illegal drugs, how are people going to be able to tell the difference? So essentially Schedule 1 just became a firewall.
Wow.
So it doesn't belong on there. So deschedule it or put alcohol on there. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like,
shit.
It doesn't make sense.
Oh, shit. Shots fired.
No shots fired. Let people do what they want to do. Don't schedule alcohol, but deschedule cannabis. It's a plant. It's over time, but I have no faith that they will, and I don't see anything positive. Sorry.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I definitely will do my research on what that is. When did they announce that?
It was announced, I believe, in September, early September.
Okay, wow. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Let's figure that out, man. I don't know how to feel about that yet. From what you're saying, it sounds like a nightmare scenario. I don't want to have to go to a fucking doctor every time I want to get an eighth.
Yeah, and then what if it's not good cannabis?
Well, then that train has already left the station.
Right, that's true.
Know, like there's going to be weed. People are going to have fields and grows, and they're definitely going to increase the black market.
Right.
Yeah, or the traditional market.
Well, then do we go back to the times before cannabis was legal and now everybody's getting arrested again?
Oh, well, they would like that.
I think so, because I'm pretty sure since cannabis is getting legalized, they don't have enough bodies to make the prison label. Yeah.
But there's tons of other shit to arrest people for.
Yeah, abortion is a big one right now. It's
my God. Woo! She's over there. Her revolver is smoking today.
Bang, bang. I'm just saying, like, they've got to replace the population. Like, what can we make illegal that is just very common?
Do you think that there's a scheme to depopulize the earth?
No, but I think the earth is fed up with us and it might be doing that.
So you don't think it's us killing us? You think the planet Earth is like, okay, I'm sick of you niggas.
I don't really get into all that. Like, what, is there a depopulation plan? I know there's too many of us right now and not enough resources. That's what I do know. Yeah.
You think they're controlling the weather? These are like high questions, like for real.
Do I think they're controlling the weather?
Now they're coming like they're like rushing me.
I don't know. I just like the different weather. I just like to observe. I don't really think about how it happened. It could be happening right under my nose, but I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. I'm getting calls. I got a call from one of my friends about, hey, you think this is Armageddon that's happening right now? They like all these. I was like, they're just, I think all this stuff was like happening around the earth, but it just wasn't reported as often.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now we're all so connected. Everything that happens gets to us at lightning speed. So it may seem like it's happening more frequently.
Well, I mean, we do know that the planet is heating up and that's affecting weather for sure. I do have friends that are like, we're in Genesis. This is the end of times. But I'm like, yeah, if Jesus didn't come back during the Holocaust and slavery, I just don't know if it's like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had the Jesus talk the other day. That's how you know Jesus is black.
Truly.
Yeah. It's the Lasagna Ganja Podcast. We are here with Mr. X to the Z.
Tammy, a.k.a. the Cannabis Cutie.
And
Mieko Perez.
Hey. Mieko, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is such a unique opportunity to be able to sit with you both.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Very glad to have you on. There's a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. But yeah, just take us from the beginning. Like, how did you get started, and what brought you into? We also have a history we was talking about before we got started.
Yeah.
So let's just start from the beginning.
So from the beginning, my son was diagnosed with autism at 18 months. And I was a young mother then. And I really didn't understand not only autism, but the journey. And God, that just to start, when he was diagnosed with autism, it was like the day you go home and you go, what just happened? I had no idea that my life would change so much.
And what year was this?
This was in, maybe early 2000s.
Okay.
When he was diagnosed. And, I placed him on medication, at the
prescribed
medication, psychotropic medications. And by the time he was 9 years old, he was 42 pounds.
Wow.
And so, at the time I was dealing with behavior issues. We had a crisis unit in our home, most of the time. And he had to be cleared for surgery. And so I walked into the doctor's office, and he's 42 pounds. You can see the bones in his chest, and he was just cleared for surgery. And I said, something's wrong here. That was one of the longest rides home. I'm in my car, and I look in the back seat, and I said, no, we're not doing this. And my initial thought was Cheech and Chong. How do I get my son to eat? And at the time, I was a legal researcher, legal secretary, and my son just ended up being one of my biggest cases.
Wow.
I had uncovered a document that was written by Dr. Bernard Rimland, who is the father and the founder of the Autism Society of America. And he wrote a paper on the cannabis as a valuable treatment option for children or persons on the autism spectrum. And like any other case, I had put it together. It was a very thick file. I walk into his doctor's office with his medical team, and I say, we're doing this.
So cannabis wasn't part of your everyday, like you weren't smoking yourself or consuming yourself. It was this was a search for something special for your son.
Definitely. I come from a law enforcement family, very religious family. This was completely out of my character. To be able to have found this treatment option. At the time I was married, and my ex-husband was like the stoner, So I'm walking in the house with Joey, and I'm like, this is what we're doing. And he looked at me and said, are you kidding me? And I said, I'm going to be able to do this. And so day one, I believe I reached out to a couple of growers, and one of them ended up being Kyle Cushman.
Wow.
So I started and these guys are still my brothers today. I can still call Don and Aaron from DNA Genetics. I can still call Jorge Cervantes in Spain. These are the guys who came and just kind of put me under their wing and said, we're going to walk you through this. And the ride has not stopped.
Wow. What did you end up deciding the best method was for your situation?
Joey loved chocolate. And so I started making, and I'm no pastry cook. I was in the kitchen like, oh my God, is this New Jack City or what? Like, what am I doing? And I made him brownies.
Okay.
Wow.
I started out making him brownies. And I can tell you within the first 3 months, I was absolutely amazed at just, initially I thought it was just to, give him a little bit of weight. but I was not expecting him to smile. I was not expecting for my dad to walk in the room and he acknowledged him. I was not expecting for Joey to start making sounds. And I believe I did one interview for Channel 7. And the next day I was being flown to New York for Good Morning America.
Wow.
Wow.
It was, and I could tell you from that day on, December 25th, I think it was December 27th, actually, my entire life changed.
Wow.
You know, from Telemundo to Colombia.
Yeah, people talking about your story, your journey.
Right.
Right. And then it was, and I knew that if I was going to go public, I needed to do it the right way. So I made sure there was an attorney next to me. I made sure there was a medical team that was in line, because as a woman of color, I knew what I was up against, and I was up against the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so dope to hear that you had the foresight to have these pieces in place, because you already knew, you know, you giving your kids drugs. That was going to be the push from wherever opponent you would have in this category. So how did you have any pushback from that side? And if you did, how did you respond to it?
So as an autism parent, we really take everyone's opinion for, you know, it really doesn't matter.
Grain of salt.
Yeah, grain of salt. Because, you know, until you've walked in our shoes, you'll never understand what we go through. And so I knew I needed to have the right paperwork in order. Everyone else just had an opinion. But I'm at home with my son, and I saw therapists coming into our home, everyone, and we're all watching my son wither away.
Did social services get involved? Did they?
So social services did get involved. Thankfully, I did have legal counsel, and they were actually able to intervene. And I think after, you know, being on Fox News, the doctor's show, no one really wanted to go up against me anymore. And that's when I really realized we are at the forefront of this. And so I, you know, throughout this 16-year journey, I haven't really changed. You know, I'm still the same mom, same Mieko, but now I have an army, and I use that army to help other families globally.
How do you help other families?
So typically, I feel like I'm the autism whisperer. So usually, you know, when families contact me, it's really navigating. You know, finding a product is a piece of cake. Navigating through federal services and federal agencies that are in our home is where the navigation starts. And just really providing the most appropriate starting point, and sitting down with the entire medical teams. When Joey was diagnosed in 2011 with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, I had no idea that I was knocking out two birds with one stone, right? Duchenne muscular dystrophy it just kind of attacks your muscles. And so cannabis is a natural muscular protectant. And so I started working in terminal illness. I started working in palliative care. I started working, and I had no idea of my son's purpose and how it was basically shaping, you know, what my ultimate next phase in my life would be. And so as I started helping families on the autism spectrum, then I started helping palliative care, and it just, you know, and it every day I just kind of go, how did I get here? And, you know, I blame Jesus and Joey for everything. I'm like, really? This is where I'm at now? But I'm sort of the no knocks type of advocate for families. You know, put your boots on, get a notepad. I'm not going to bullshit you for nothing, you know. And I always get families that say, you're very different than the advocate that sold us this product. I said, because I'm not selling you a product. I'm selling you navigation. And in order for this to be successful, you're going to have to know the rules and the guidelines and what to look for and how to look for it. That product is a piece of cake, you know, but the basics are really what I focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cannabis is not, just to be clear, cannabis is not just a magic wand for people on the autism spectrum.
It's the assist.
Yeah, right. I think it's when applicable. You know what I'm saying? And it's really dope to hear the journey, even though you don't consume, to be an advocate in the stature of, in the manner of which you are, is really to be applauded. And I think that the people that you help, the families that you help, are very thankful for that, because they probably don't consume themselves,
right?
So this is new territory for them. So this is great.
It's not only new territory, but it's also I think everyone in the cannabis industry thinks everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
Until
you
you
don't know shit.
Until you sit down with an autism parent, or that parent goes to the dispensary with their child in the car. We don't know everything. Right now we are 1 out of 17 homes in America with a person on the autism spectrum. And the advice from advocates, they need to stay in their lanes. Like, that's one of the reasons why I continue to stay relevant in this space. I'm one of a few advocates that can actually intervene in CPS cases. And I'm on call Monday through Friday, from 5 a.m. to noon, just in case legal counsel or social workers contact me, to write reports, intervene, close cases, and just be who I've always been. And that's really a protector. I remember they used to call me the school district slayer, because I would just go into the school district and I'd go, well, what? No one ever reads the first line of my bio. I've been a legal secretary for 30 years. And I enjoy what I do. And I have a host of process servers. And so this, walking into the court space was really just the next version of me, being
very interesting to see, that we already know the misconception of, and the perception that most people have of cannabis is the recreational user, the person that, the hippie or whatever they used to call them back in the day. And the negative press that they given cannabis over the years, so now it's an uphill battle. Not only are you fighting prejudices against yourself, the prejudices against the plant,
the court of public opinion.
Court of public opinion, and you're only trying to help your child. And there's lots of people out there in this situation, so it's just really opening up the views and the transition of what cannabis means to people in so many ways, not just recreational.
Yeah, I truly believe cannabis and autism is the reason, and who is the reason I'm who I am today, right? And I'm very thankful. I guess I would be one of those types of people who were square and never looked outside the box, and oh, Mieko, she goes by all the rules. Not really, right? I have learned to not only protect families, but also protect cultivators. Without those cultivators, my son would not have lived as long as he did. And it's really important that we never forget, because I think we take a final product for granted. That cultivator needs to be equally praised, because he's the reason why we are seeing the progress with our children. And that's kind of why I got involved with Nothing But Fire.
Well, you mentioned that Joey lived as long as he did. How long was were they expecting him to live prior to cannabis?
So with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, most boys pass away in their late teens.
Okay.
Joey passed away at the age of 19 years old.
Wow.
And it's kind of weird, I mean, I talk to him every day, right? And I like, Joey, really, I'm going to Nothing But Fire today. This is not my plan. But I'm very grateful. Right. I'm very grateful for cannabis. I'm very grateful for autism. I'm very grateful for the journey.
Yeah, the time you had with her.
Yeah.
But I certainly think that I'm not done yet, you know, and I know that I'm not done because the families still contact me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still needed. And so far, no one's tried to rob me of my, you know, tried to take it away from me. But it's very serious.
Yeah.
You know, and I tend to be serious all the time, and it's, you know, I have to perform when I'm in court. I'm like, you guys, I can't be seen at Nothing But Fire because I got to go to court at 8 a.m. and save a family.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely bringing perspectives that may not be apparent a lot, which is, you know, the consumer, the dispensary, the manufacturer, the cultivator, you know. And so I have sort of, you know, transitioned over, and, you know, now I'm working in NASCAR and
tell us about that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Tell us about NASCAR.
Yeah.
So I think about 2 years ago, NASCAR decided to have CBD companies sponsor drivers.
Ooh, I can't wait.
No, we can't wait.
No, I can't wait till they could let us promote on their cars.
They do.
But THC.
Right.
Well,
I'm gonna blast that shit. I'm on there.
So I have a
fuck you, Tide.
Well,
here comes napalm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working with Curry Motorsports, which is IMSA.
Okay.
So we can definitely do THC on business development. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I want the hood.
You can have it.
And the top of the car.
You look, the whole car is
and
yours.
The tailpipe. we going all the way.
Everything.
And as you should, you know, it's how I entered the space and was working with a driver. He's the third African-American NASCAR driver publicly diagnosed with autism.
Wow.
His name is Armanni Williams. He's in the truck series. And they said, we need a little help and we need an expert. And I said, okay, here we go. You know, and I went to a couple of races and I said, I'm in.
So he drives professionally?
Professionally.
Wow. And
to be able to work with Armanni has been such a blessing. I say it's a gift from Joey.
Yeah. So where on if you don't mind me asking, where on the spectrum is he?
He's on the higher end of the spectrum. He's in college, and he's 23 years old, and he's exceptional. And he's the hope that all families need. You know, could you imagine, you know, sitting in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, and you're you know, you have a child on the spectrum and you see Armanni pop up.
Yeah. And he's a professional NASCAR driver.
Professional NASCAR driver. So, you know, it's I'm telling you, cannabis has brought me places, you know, that I would never have thought that I would be in.
That's so amazing. I want to check him out.
Yeah, definitely check him out. And, you know, and we'll take you over to IMSA and we'll get your whole car taken care of.
Hey, man, listen, cannabis does not get promoted, and not to be off subject, we're going to get right back, but cannabis is not allowed in a lot of places.
Right.
Man.
You know, there's the restrictions on being able to but you know, smoking itself, they can't promote certain places as well.
No, but you know what I do think? I think with this podcast and with more exposure, we're changing the narrative. I would never thought that I would be sitting here with X and the Cannabis Cutie talking about autism and talking about the compassionate side of California. You know, we're Prop 215. We started this shit. We started it.
It was sick people that motivated the legislation change.
Yes. And so for that, and that was the only reason in 2009 why Joey received his medical marijuana recommendation.
Wow.
So we have a lot to be grateful for being in California, but podcasts like this are going to change the way we see things and bring it more to the forefront.
Well, hopefully this platform can be used in that manner.
Yeah. Shout out to Joey for setting you on your life path.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes full circle. I mean, I I can tell you, and I think I've shared it with you. The first time Joey actually responded to music was a Snoop Dogg song.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course.
You know, we have it on video, and I said, you know, I'm gonna have to stop Snoop and tell him, like, hey, you know, this is, and it makes sense. But when you've never seen your child ever respond to anything, and I remember that day because I had given him a brownie before aquatic therapy. And on the way back, he was so happy. And then it was just like, what just happened?
The song?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember this one. It's I Want to Rock Right Now.
Oh, Scoop DeVille on the beat.
And Joey is like
big dog.
He's rocking back and forth, and I'm sobbing because he's nonverbal. So he the only word that he's ever said is mom. He's never reacted to anything. He didn't, and so Snoop Dogg, you know, a brownie, cannabis. And so when I sit down with other families, they get it. I mean, the cannabis industry has no idea how many families are behind cannabis.
Yeah, what would you say to people that are actively trying to either deconstruct or break down the ability to get this medicine to families across the world?
You can't stop us. We're 1 out of 17 homes in America. Our voting bloc will stand behind cannabis any day.
Okay.
And I think that they have nothing to worry about, you know, simply because my job is training palates, training your child to take in. Joey taught me that, right? So when I would give Joey a brownie, and I know he was going to have the munchies later, except his munchies were going to be strawberries, broccoli, you know, green bean casserole. That's what cannabis does.
Yeah.
You know, he went from having his face very pale and just not looking very healthy to there's nothing wrong with him.
Vibrant.
You know, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And so it was cannabis.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, I laugh every day when my attorney would say, you know, you breeze through Fox News. And I said, because I was talking about pro-life. We forget cannabis is pro-life. And when you change that story, you change that narrative, you have everyone, you know, their eyes and ears open.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. This is, you know, we call this the Lasagna Ganja Podcast because there's layers to, there's no lasagna.
Unfortunately.
But there's layers to all of this, and it's so complicated. So, you know, we dedicated this podcast to finding these layers and talking about each one. And there's so many to get through. And this is very important because it's not just about the recreational use of the plant or the people that it affects. This is about families. This is about something that is being, you know, treated as a commodity when it's a medicine. You know?
Yeah. And it's also given not only cultivators a reason to connect with their families, but it's also giving us as families of color a way to connect to our families. You know, it's I remember walking out of court one day and I had this guy take me to my car and say, you're the reason why I talked to my mom about cannabis.
Yeah.
Full on cholo. And I was like, I don't know what he's about to do. But when he stopped me and I said, and I just drove home and I said, oh my God, you know, we really have influenced a generation. And then on the other end, you know, I go home back to Puerto Rico and, you know, my brother's a physician and, you know, families full of physicians actually. And when I get there, I take my shoes off, you know, and I start walking into homes. And I really, you know, and all they want to do is, what cannabis do we use, Mieko? What product do we use? And it's very different there, but not that different with the families because we're all the same. So, you know, just continue to keep moving. Now I'm having a lot more fun though. I am having fun now.
Okay.
It's taken me a while. Joey's been gone for 5 years.
Okay. I was just about to ask you that.
And I'm finally kind of coming out of my shell.
Yeah.
Finally.
Well, we're glad that you are. Thank you for sharing this information with us. But by all means, keep going. I just want to thank you for that, though.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's even on the way here, I said, you know what, Tammy, I'm not that cool. I don't know why you guys want to talk to me. I'm not cool at all.
Trust me, I'm not either. But I'm over here.
Yeah. No, Mieko, you're doing something in the United States that we're not seeing a lot of, which is the discussion around cannabis and autism. And in places like Israel, where they've done years and years of research, and we know that there is positive correlation to cannabis use for people who are living on the autism spectrum. So you bringing attention to that is so important. And you're right, advocates this is not our lane. When it comes to like these kinds of things, there are people that I'm going to send them to. You're always going to be one that I send. When people have questions about what do I give my children, I'm always going to send them to you. I have no advice.
Yeah, because it's a doozy. You know, if a mother says, hey, I want to use this treatment option and 3 people hear it, CPS is knocking at your door.
What if they out there, as you bring up a good point, what if people are in a state where it's not legal on any level, but they have a child on the spectrum that may need this medicine? How do they go about doing that?
Look, X, I cannot answer that question legally.
Well, there's a legal answer that we can. It's called medical refugees, and you better hope that your family can afford to pick up and move. There's a girl named Alexis Portel who had epileptic disorder, I think Dravet's syndrome, and her family had to move her from Texas to Colorado because the only way that she would be able to live, when she was having hundreds of seizures a day, if I'm correct, and they were going to take out a piece of her brain, or she could use cannabis and the seizures stop and she keeps her whole brain, but her family had to uproot everything and move to a different state. Basically.
Yeah.
Because that's their only option. But she started taking CBD. She was seizure free for 30 days. And then she had a seizure after that. They added THC and she has not had a seizure since. It's been years now.
Wow.
And this is like, okay, now if you don't go to a different state because you can't afford it, you know, you're risking your life, you're risking your children, their safety.
You're risking it all. And so that's why it's so great that
But if you chop out a piece of their brain, totally fine.
No
that's the alternative.
Totally fine.
Yeah, very extreme. Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm very grateful as well as, you know, our story was not only in Copenhagen, Denmark. You know, we've been able to be in quite a few books. Our story, you know, working with Project CBD or I think, and one of the reasons why I do go public is simply because I do not want to put any more families on the line of fire.
Yeah.
And what families do not realize is even though autism may be in a bill, and even though there may be symptoms in a legislation bill, state laws have not changed.
Right.
It's expensive to change state laws. So you still have state negligence laws on the books. You still have physicians who have to report THC in a child's system.
Shit. Yeah.
So we haven't solved that problem yet. So until further federal laws are passed, you can contact me and have a legally binding confidential call.
Wow.
And I always tell families, you know, it's great that people can recommend a product, but you call me to help be successful. You contact me so I can walk you through this journey until further federal laws are passed.
If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do so? And give the information. You know, however the best way to get in contact with you, because I know there's some listeners out there that maybe going through this right now
and have nowhere to turn.
Don't know where to start. So how can people get in touch with you?
So obviously through social media, it's Mieko Perez, and my blog, miekosblog.com, which has all of my credentials. And speaking of Israel, I mean, Joey has made it possible for me to hit every country. And I started working in Spain very early on with my other mothers, and was speaking at the Technion conference. I think I forgot what it's called. I
The
forgot.
company or
No. The actual I think it was just Canatech. That's what it was. And it's been amazing.
Yeah.
You
How do you
know,
spell that? I'm following you right now.
it's
If you don't,
MIE.
for those who are listening, I'm on my phone.
It's MIEKO and _ Perez.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Perez. Boom. There it is. Got you. Boom. All right. There it is. MIEKO _ Perez.
Yes.
Got it.
Mieko.
Follow her.
Best.
Spread the word. Information is king.
Yes.
Yeah,
Miiko's the best. You know, when I met you, you scared the shit out of me. Yeah. I was like,
I tell you,
gosh,
I'm so serious.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm Puerto Rican too.
I'm like, here we go.
I'm with this organization, like doughy-eyed, and you're like, I don't fuck with them. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look.
Wait a minute. She's a active gang member too.
She had good reason.
Woo!
But I was taken aback. She did call me like a week later.
Yeah.
And she explained herself, but then she also took me under her wing.
Good.
And I'm one of the advocates that does have her respect in the industry. Thank God.
Look, I don't mean to be gangster, but when it comes to these children and when it comes to this industry, I'm seeing a pattern.
Yeah.
And the pattern is don't ride on my back to get to where you need to go because you don't know me, right? And I protect families by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And your information to sell a product is not important to them.
Wow.
Right? And so
I was aligned with some enemies that were giving bad information to families.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So it made sense.
Yeah. We can't afford it. There's a business that's going on, in certain states. And so we have to keep our families at home and we have to keep them together. Sometimes people will call me and say, Mieko, you disappeared for 3 days. I said, 72 hours. You're right. Because there was a family that needed me.
Yeah.
Whether you have $1 or $1,000, I'm still showing up.
Wow.
Because there's no one else like me. There's no one else that's going to be able to write a report. And there's no one. I've been investigated by the best. Medical Board of California, Child Protective Services, you name it. I've already done the work for these families. So now it's time to pick up for me to put them under my wing and protect them. And that's exactly what I do. You can call me for an IEP meeting, which is a meeting for children on the spectrum or special needs children. And I'll walk in and they'll go, oh, shit, we don't know who she's bringing. They don't know if she's bringing, a newspaper, a TV station. And so I've learned to use this entire journey, really to protect other families by any means necessary. And I'm hard. I'm very, very strict, very hard, but it's for a very good reason. I want you to be successful and not say, I did it because it was a privilege.
Right.
That's amazing. We need more people like you.
Right.
Are there organizations that you do align with that are people that you respect in this community, in this journey that you're on?
Cannabis or outside cannabis?
Both.
Wow. There are organizations, I'm pretty sure they may not want me to name them.
Yeah.
But if you contact me, I'll put you in front of these organizations.
Right.
Because each family is very different. Each goal is different. And so and the good part about it is these organizations know I mean business. We are not going to just give them, hey, go do this.
Yeah.
No, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Autism mom, I don't sleep. I still haven't slept.
Wow.
Because I there's still work to do.
Yeah. As you expand your reach in this, you've also did products of your own.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So there's a whole story behind that one.
Okay. Yeah, tell us. Yes.
So because I work with so
and
many...
you have it here with us, right?
I do.
Yeah, okay. So tell us what we're looking at.
So this is Arbor. Okay. This is a product that has a, it's Nitro V. Mm-hmm. So we have a very unique ingredient, which is Nitro V, mm-hmm. and it's Arbor by Mieko Perez.
Okay, so what is Nitro V?
So Nitro V is like this super cannabinoid.
Oh.
And
full spectrum hemp extract, 1,000 milligrams. I like that 1,000. I like that 1,000 number.
With Nitro V, is that now?
Yeah, but it's 22 milligrams. And I'll tell you the story about the 22 milligrams and why this was so important. I've seen a lot of products in the last 16 years.
This says 33.
30, yeah, that's what I mean, 33.
Okay, yeah, okay.
33. But I've seen a lot of products in the last 16 years, and I work with medical directors, and I'm always listening to their input. Yeah. And so for me, when it comes to certain delivery methods, I try to steer away from using those delivery methods mm-hmm. for very specific reasons. There's a lot of senior citizens going into the emergency right now because they're taking, tinctures and edibles and there's no definitive dose.
They made that shit in their bathtubs.
Mm. Well, but not only that, they don't, this is not 1974 weed. Mm. This is very new for them. Right. And so
they need suppositories.
Whoa. Hey.
Gentle.
Easy.
Hey.
Easy on us.
Hey, man.
Waking them up a little bit.
What? Let's just stick to smoking edibles, please. Jesus.
So, God. With all these companies throwing products at me, I knew eventually that I would find a product or find a company that would be suited for me, mm-hmm. period. Number one, I need to defend the product. Number one, I need mm-hmm. to be able to just speak authentically about, my experience. And so I run into Arbor mm-hmm. in a couple of conferences and, they send me all their information. I tried the product maybe a little bit before my hysterectomy. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I need to get my body back in order. And I took the product for 90 days before I even contacted them and said I want it.
Yeah.
I said, number one, there's no product that bears any woman, period, of color, or that has, Mieko Perez on it, or Perez, or any type of mm-hmm. Afro-Latina, anything on it, right? So I knew I was about to really go...
you believe in it.
Set the trend for this, because and then I started losing weight and then I started feling great.
Yeah,
and
there's daily and there's slim and there's sleep.
Woo.
Yes.
Enrich your daily life with daily. It's an orange package. Then you have clinically studied to help with weight loss. The slim package is like a little aqua. Oh. And then the purple is a clinically studied to help with sleep.
Let's go.
Yeah. I need all three.
But
there you go.
So let me get back to the old people. Okay.
Damn.
Listen.
Damn.
No. So I say that to say
suppositories. They like them. I promise you they do.
Man, come on, man.
But the doctors are having issues because we're unable to give a definitive dose when you're in emergency. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're in an emergency and they go, oh, I ate the whole thing, and you have, oh, I ate a bite. We have no idea how much you've actually consumed.
Yeah.
So I was very adamant about having a product that actually was effective, mm-hmm. but actually, if my patients were able to take it, or consumers rather, that they're able to tell their medical team definitively this was 33 milligrams. That's really important.
So are they in pill form?
They're in gel caps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
And so they dissolve very easy.
How many come in a pack?
30. So you get a month's supply. And I'm just, when I it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys know the guy from Henry Gates. He does all of these Roots, where he finds your family. And wait a minute, you guys don't watch PBS? Is it just me?
Hell no. You still watch TV?
Wait a minute.
I see on TikTok.
Is that on Netflix? I don't know.
It's on TikTok.
It's on TikTok. Okay, so here's the deal. When I'm researched, when I pass away, I want my family to be proud of me.
Oh, that's okay.
I carry 4 more last names, I believe. And I want to be able to really be impactful for my generation. And so it was very well thought out to work with Arbor, and it was very
the synergy was right.
Yeah, the synergy was definitely right. And it's something that I can sit down with my family, and especially the family in Puerto Rico. Oh, Jesus, Mieko, did you bring it? And it's just, this conversation would have never happened had not only, I'd gone through the journey with Joey, but now I'm sitting down, with my family going, look at this, look at what I've done. This is impactful for us. And, it's about really, carrying on the legacy, but in a very well thought out way.
Can I get this in stores?
Yes, you can. Right now it's in, let's see, Union Travel Agency in Manhattan.
Wow. Okay.
And a couple of stores in Michigan, a couple of stores in California. And I'm just really excited about it, because it's something that I can be proud of.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations on launching your own product. It is still a personal goal of mine to get you to smoke weed before you die.
I'm working on it.
We'll hit a milestone. Let's set something in stone.
We've
right
got
now.
CBD though.
Okay, so look. What's a milestone here? When you what something that's not too far away,
right?
But something attainable.
But at the end of the day,
what are the goals for this right now?
I'm gonna do it.
You made $1 million yet?
We working on it.
So your first $1 million, you smoke a joint.
Yes.
Hey,
there it is. There it is.
It's a binding contract.
We gotta bring you
seal
back.
it up. I gotta do a signature sign right here, something next to her, something.
No, but let me tell you, because of Joey, I went to Spring Bling. I've got the contact high. I got that one all down.
Yeah.
I got it.
I heard about that, the runner's high thing. But
it's a real
Xzibit said
thing.
he'll never ever experience a runner high.
Hell no, I'm driving everywhere.
But I'm a cigar smoker.
Okay.
So cool. I feel like I've been smoking cigars since I was 5.
Damn.
So,
me too. That's why my voice sounds like this. But.
Yeah.
Smoking,
Glad I'm not smoking your cigars. My voice wouldn't even sound right. The look and I enjoy the culture, and the culture is what came in and got me and Joey. The culture is the reason why I'm sitting here. And I think right now, even on after the Nothing But Fire, we can't lose the culture.
No.
And California is the start and the finish. I know a lot of folks, as I travel to other states, they want to be just like us, but we set the trends.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we set the trends, and
that's where we're at, man. Mieko, thank you for being on the Lasagna Ganja Podcast. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving us inspiration, motivation. Thank you for showing us Arbor by Mieko Perez. Go out and support that. New York City, you know what time it is. I got to get out to New York. I'm actually going to go out there for Comic-Con.
Are you?
So
wait, is Comic-Con still happening?
Yeah, Comic-Con is still happening. I'm not dressing up.
Okay.
Why
not?
I'm not dressing up. I'm going out there for something totally different.
No Thundercat?
No. A Lion-O might be good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got a gut, but whatever, we'll pull it off.
I feel like a West Coast Customs.
Yeah, hell no. I'm not pimping anybody's ride. Okay? I'm fucking retired.
Listen, us millennials, there's a soft spot for
I know. I got to do something else in the car space, but just not now.
My son Diesel was like, X, you're going to see X from What?
Yeah.
But he's 15.
Really?
So guess
well,
what?
That's good.
You've made it.
That's good.
You made it.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad they still know me. I like that. Respect.
And his name is Diesel.
Hey, you know.
Mieko, it's been great having you here today with us. Make sure you check out her Instagram, her website, if you need to get in contact with her. She's an amazing bright light to have in the space and has truly created change.
Right. The Lasagna Ganja Podcast from Mr. X to the Z Xzibit.
And I'm Tammy, a.k.a. the Cannabis Cutie.
That's right. We'll see you next time.
Check out the Lasagna Ganja Podcast wherever podcasts are streamed.
And check out our separate feed with video episodes.
Available on Spotify and YouTube.
For more information, visit dcpofficial.com.